Hello everyone, and welcome to another Tuesday with Luther. I apologize for missing the last few weeks. My wife was overdue a couple of weeks with our third son, but finally he was born on the feast of St. Robert Barnes, July 30th. Tiernan Thomas Walther Hull is his name. Joy to have him here. That little demon was drowned in the waters of holy baptism the following Sunday. And it was a joy to do that, to bring my son into a fellowship with Christ, the fellowship of forgiveness. For we can't just talk about relationships, for we always have a relationship with God. It's either one of wrath or of love, of forgiveness or condemnation, one or the other. And praise be to God that He is now in the forgiving waters of holy baptism, and my prayer every day is that that faith, given in baptism, be strengthened and nurtured through the means of grace, the word proclaimed, and the blessed sacrament distributed. This week we continue through the commandments with the seventh commandment. And it's interesting as we continue on through the commandments how everyone tries to weasel their way out of breaking them. You know, first to the third, we can all kind of say, yes, I've broken these. Even the fourth, fifth, and sixth, we can all say, you know what, I've done this. But the seventh one, a little tough. Stealing. Have we actually stolen something? And that's where it gets tricky. The seventh commandment, thou shalt not steal. You shall not steal. What does this mean? We should fear and love God so that we do not take our neighbor's money or possessions or get them in any dishonest way, but help him to improve and protect his possessions and income. What's lovely about Luther's commandments, if you read through them, which you should read through them diligently every day, is there's a negative and a positive aspect to this commandment. The negative, you shall not try to scheme your way to get your neighbor's possessions or inheritance or income. And you can say, well, I don't do this. I don't try to get my next door neighbor's inheritance or his possessions. You don't? I don't? We all do. We all scheme to get what belongs to our neighbor. We covet it first, because that's what comes first. We covet what belongs to our neighbor. And then we try to get it. But do we ever pray in the morning or in the evening, God, please increase the happiness of my neighbor. Please, God, give him more temporal blessings. Please, God, protect everything he owns and make it more abundant? No. This is never our prayer. We don't pray this way. We pray for our own gain. We pray that we have what belongs to our neighbor, or even more than what belongs to our neighbor. Our neighbor owns a 2007, we want a 2008. You know, that's what we want. We may not come out and say it all the time, because we want to be pious. We want to seem pious. Holy people who desire holy things. But deep down in that bottom crevice of our guts, we want what we want. We want more than what our neighbor has. We want our neighbor to covet our possessions rather than the other way around. Luther says at the conclusion of the seventh commandment in the Large Catechism, he says, anyone who seeks and desires good works will find here more than enough things to do that are heartily acceptable and pleasing to God. Moreover, God lavishes upon them a wonderful blessing, and generously rewards us for what we do to benefit and befriend our neighbor. As King Solomon also teaches in Proverbs 19, whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and will be repaid in full. Here you have a rich Lord, who is surely sufficient for your needs, and will let you lack or want for nothing. Thus, with a happy conscience, you can enjoy 100 times more than you could scrape together by perfidy and injustice. Whoever does not desire this blessing will find wrath and misfortune enough. So Luther says you have enough to worry about in just tending to the needs of your neighbor, making sure that your neighbor needs nothing. This is the Christian life, in a nutshell. We always want Bible studies or classes. Teach me how to be a Christian. What just happened? Keep the seventh commandment. When you've done that, when you've kept the seventh commandment and cared only about your neighbor and never about your own personal gains, then go to your pastor and ask him more about your sanctified life. Stick to that first. If you can do that, then guess what? You're already dead. because you're never going to fulfill it in this life. But we strive to. We should do these things, therefore we desire to, we want to. Who doesn't want to be good to their neighbor? But there's always problems that get in the way. We gossip and covet and slander and persecute and eventually murder our neighbor in our heart instead of building them up. So my prayer this week is that God continue to work on us, that His Word work, that the Spirit crush the demon within us, that the old Adam trying to drown us again is crushed by the hand of Christ, in order that we may walk in newness of life. God bless each and every one of you, and I look forward to speaking with you next week.